Hey guys, it's God Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 392nd episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it had, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So today we have a definite first for the channel, as I can pretty confidently say that this is the only duo I've ever covered on the page that's actually married in real life. In fact, it's pretty much one of the only examples in hip-hop I can think of, besides maybe Remy and Papoose, but we all know how that ended. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure these two underground rap titans are still together to this day, and those include legendary MC Jean Grae, someone who I've been meaning to cover on here for a while now, and her partner Quelle Chris, though he actually has shown up on the channel once before. In fact, I believe it was all the way back in my very first set of favorite modern LPs, where I talked about his stellar 2017 album, Being You Is Great, I Wish I Could Be You More Often, which outside of his beat placements on Danny Brown's Triple X, was really the project that introduced me to the super talented rapper slash producer, and most likely would still take the spot as my favorite release in the Quelle Chris discography. However, while I heavily fuck with most of his other output, from earlier LPs like 2013's Ghost at the Finish Line, 2015's Innocent Country, or 2016's Lullabies for the Broken Brain, to relatively more recent ones like 2019's Guns, 2020's Innocent Country 2, and 2022's Death Fame. Right in the middle of that batch came his stellar 2018 collab album with Jean Grae, 2018's Everything's Fine, and this thing definitely has earned its spot as my second favorite project, as I played it countless times the year it dropped. And just like Being You Is Great, which shares some of the same zany, cartoonish elements, Everything's Fine really hasn't aged in the slightest. I know it may not seem that impressive since it was only 8 years ago, but just to put it into perspective, this was just 1 year after the Culture album from Migos. And the reason I use them as an example is because I remember being in high school when the singles for that LP were coming out, and pretty much everyone was playing those tracks on repeat. And I can vividly recall riding around with my friends, rapping along to those standard Migos patented flow patterns. However, for whatever reason, perhaps just because of the age I was when it was popular, there's something about that sound and style that just hasn't aged too well for me. And I get a similar feeling when I see videos from that time of people doing the type of thing, where it just screams mid-2010s in a way that personally makes me cringe a bit. I suppose that's part of the trade-off when you make trendy music, because you may have way more money and popularity than the underground artists, but it's almost always the stuff that doesn't follow the norm that ends up standing the test of time. And this duo exemplifies that, as Jean Grae was already so ahead of her time back in the early to mid-2000s, that even a decade later her style still sounds fresh and forward-thinking. And similarly, Quelle Chris has managed to separate himself apart from all his contemporaries really ever since he entered the scene, with this deep, nasally flow that perfectly pairs with his sharp, witty, and subversive writing style. Their vocal juxtaposition is dope enough on its own, but the real chemistry between these two is displayed through how they execute ideas and concepts, with one of my favorite examples being the track My Contribution to This Scam, where both of these master MCs paint very vivid yet nuanced portraits of different types of hip-hop fans, highlighting the type of behavior that, while extremely common, still proves to be kind of detrimental to the genre at the end of the day. I actually want to share Jean's killer verse here, which is super pointed and direct, and she starts it off rapping, "You're dotting the whiz, you bring nothing, you ruin shit. Douchey acts, body spray influences, why I got a deus ex machina things, I'm done doing this, save yourself, useless. Untie the neck nooses, I'm tired, semicolon sick. I done thrown up the deuces 86 times with no hint of shtick. On the bullseye, tick line older than the distance of reticuli, particularly relevant, so you know when I kick it, I'm an elephant man, not a Joseph Merrick and elephant fam. Don't forget, like America, the land of the Klan. They gave you that, I gave you 9-minute schoolgirl rants. Jill Palance, epic Eastern manifestos. Why you on your keisters waiting for a trend to pop off, you knockoff, Chinatown alleyway circle jerk box office ratings, YouTube reviewer, shut up. You are contributing not a thing. Did I stutter? You are not helping. As for Chris, well, he kills that track as well. I actually want to use his verse from another favorite moment of mine, that being the song Gold, Purple, Orange, where both rappers delve into a myriad of stereotypes and they manage to criticize the notion that everything is black and white and form a discourse around these topics without making it sound corny or putting themselves above the audience. Chris takes the first verse this time around and he doesn't waste any time getting right to the point, coming in with, if you two-wheel and trying to chill, get a kickstand. Everybody getting money had a game plan. Every truth seeker dropped by a hitman. Everybody alt-right gotta be white. Everybody disagree gotta be wrong. Everybody black dick gotta be long. Every mixtape dropped gotta be free. Everybody from the hood gotta be G. Everything in the news gotta be real, right? Every Jew golden rule gotta save bills. Every young black man got a deadbeat daddy. Every independent lady attitude trashy. Anybody ain't lit gotta be old. If you dress like that, you gotta wanna fuck. If I got lokes, then they gotta stay blowed. And if it ain't Fronto, it's gotta be a blunt. And if I cop squares, why they gotta be ports? Either keep it real or you Unc Tom buggin'. If two ain't the same, why one gotta be broke? You can play the game, I ain't gotta be nothing for you but me. From the head nappy 2 feet. Can't hurry something so complete. Took time like duck calling feet. If spaceship's too far from your reach, it's weightless way down in the deep. Yeah, you ain't about to have me losing no sleep. Cause I'm grinding, you ain't about to see me snoozing no sleep same time, man. While all of the production here was impressively handled by Gene and Chris themselves, there was a pretty interesting group of features on Everything's Fine because a number of them aren't actually artists at all, with numerous actors and comedians like Nick Offerman, Michael Che, John Hodgman, and Hannibal Buress, who, believe it or not, is actually going to show up in my next video at all, which wasn't pre-planned at all and I didn't even realize it until now. Of course, we do get some rappers and singers who show up as guest appearances as well, including Big Tone, Anna Wise, Jonathan Horde, Ashok Kandabulu, Denmark Vezi, Moselle, and Yoral Droog. When it comes to my top 3 overall favorite tracks this time around, I would probably have to go with my contribution to This Scam, Gold, Purple, Orange, and Waiting for the Moon. Then for the honorable mentions, I still want to recommend songs like Oh Shh, House Call, The Smoking Man, Breakfast of Champions, Scoop of Dirt, Zero, and River. Thank you for watching my 392nd video. Next time we have an LP that shares a good amount in common with the one we just discussed, and it's from another underground legend who's only been on the page once before. So tune in for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite moments are off this cerebral album. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.